And with that, welcome to another episode of From the Lot. We got Will Hammond here. We got myself, Josh Loney. We got some shade on our faces, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me try this. What would happen if I did this?
We're chillaxing in the sun.
Oh, it makes no difference. But we're really in a car right now. That's this much we can prove to you.
Bringing the ultimate form of entertainment to you, lovely folks.
Yeah, podcasting.
Yeah.
Anyway, as you can see, we are right outside of the Regal Theater where we just saw the movie. Oh, right. Argylle.
Argylle, yes. With the
Directed by Matthew Vaughn.
Matthew Vaughn, written by
Jason Fuchs.
Jason Fuchs. Quite the star-studded cast, huh?
Kind of a hilarious
there's
name. Let's just start with that.
It is.
Is that why he's in Hollywood? Because he's like, you know what, dude?
You're halfway
really,
there, dude.
We need, we're already fucking.
Yeah.
Let's get laid at least. This podcast is brought to you by Coast Smokes, going with the Grape today. It's an excellent product of CBD and CBG cigarettes that does not make you tired, but it does help with muscle pain, and it helps you not smoke real cigarettes as often.
Question is, what type of grapes are those made with? Are they the Pinot Noir grapes?
Pinot Noir, I'm sure. Honestly, I get more of the sense that they made these with Concord grapes.
Okay, they were...
This is some Welch's shit, you know? There's no Malbec, you know? Nothing that would end up in a Bordeaux is present.
No.
This is just good old-fashioned American grapes. And then we're also, for the fuck of it, going to be brought to you by Attack Pick.
Oh, look
Willie,
at that.
These are super cool Attack Picks by the company Attack Pick. And they're guitar picks that affect your guitar tone with different little ridges.
Like one of them emulates like a 12 string or something, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yep, that's the red one, which I don't have. This is my... They sponsor the Absurd, and this pack is what we hand out when we're on tour. This is the one I use on some of our recordings. It's got little bumps. So if you ever want one, dude, I got 1 million packs of these things. So you should try it. See how it fucks with your guitar tone. Anyway, now that we got all that out of the way and we've made our huge buckets of money,
yes,
let's discuss Argylle. What's your initial reaction to Argylle?
It's a lot.
It is.
And it's a lot to take in. And I know sometimes. Okay, so sometimes we get on here, and I've said, the movie was too long. We could have got to this point quicker. Sometimes I don't have specific examples that come to mind immediately because it's trying to take everything in from the movie. But the third act specifically, I think the last 25 or 30 minutes, I probably should have checked my watch to see what it was. There were a few things I was like, we get it. We can either
move on to the next scene.
You can either just cut this, or this scene should be infinitely shorter, right?
Yeah.
So
are you talking about the dancing scene with all the smoke? Because that was for me kind of when I was like, all right, I get it.
Yes, get me to Bryan Cranston.
But I'm not laughing.
We need the three of them to finally meet up at this point. We're ready for this.
Yeah, I've already seen this style of action in this movie.
That's
what Matthew Vaughn's good at. He's been doing it ever since Kick-Ass.
Oh yeah, right? Dude. It's
the super slow-mo bullet time
very
shit.
Stylized. And when they're in the boiler room with the oil,
I enjoyed that scene more than the smoke scene.
I enjoyed it more than the smoke scene. I think it just could have been shorter, though.
It could have. Again, dude,
get me through all the cronies quicker to get to them. You know what I mean? To what's his name? Carlos was the other, sort of
he's the lead henchman.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's okay, just get me to the conflict with her and him quicker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We understand what's going on. I want to see the final showdown with Bryan Cranston and what is the actress's name? The mom from Home Alone.
Oh, Catherine O'Hara.
Catherine O'Hara, yeah.
She's
fucking
great.
Phenomenal in everything she does.
She's
just
funny. Yep.
Sam Rockwell, which was my other impression of this movie, is basically through the entire movie I was just thinking man, Sam Rockwell can just make anything
work. Yeah.
Worth watching, dude. He's so fucking phenomenal. He's awesome. And then Bryce.
He's funny, dude. Bryce Dallas Howard, I thought. We'll get to like some of my thoughts on her because part of why I thought some of those scenes near the end didn't work had to do with her, but I did think her performance was good. I think she's got the right sort of face and affect for the character.
Yeah,
so it was decent casting.
Overall, I thought she was good in the movie.
Yeah. But okay, I'm just gonna say it.
All right.
One thing that kind of bugged me that they just never commented on, is like she's got like. At first, I was like, okay, so she's supposed to be a spinster. I don't know if we're allowed to use the word spinster anymore, but that's the implication, right? Like her mom, played by Catherine O'Hara, is saying, oh, you should find yourself a man. You know, what's the point of success if you have no one to share it with, right? So there's already this implication like, oh, she's going to end up with Sam Rockwell or something, right? Like you're waiting for that romantic dynamic to take effect, and it eventually does. But she's got mom bod, but she's a spinster who's never had kids, but she's like got obvious mom bod. And I don't mean that as a knock.
She's just, I think you're supposed to be like, oh, she's thick.
I like MILFs.
Oh,
who doesn't like MILFs?
We got a thick bitty.
Yeah.
I mean, like, honestly, I thought that multiple times. There were multiple shots. I was like, damn, Bryce Dallas.
She gained like a solid
damn, she got
40 pounds at least. And it's because she had kids, I'm sure.
She's got a. I mean, dude, I was like, I don't know if
I remember Spider-Man 3.
I don't know if I've got a type or not. But I was like, damn, she's still looking good even with the
she looks,
bod, dude. Damn,
honestly, I would do it with the
curves.
mom bod.
I think she filled into the curves very nicely. Might add.
Because she has a pretty face, and then there's just more to grab.
Yeah, you know? It's a good time.
And I'm not trying to be piggish. I only mention it because at the end, when she's doing all this figure skating and kung fu shit, there's a little bit of like, okay, there's no way this chick is in good enough shape to do this, which is why they are using a CGI version of her. And to me, that was like, if you had just even said, when she was saying, I'm not ready, I can't do this, if she had just even said the line like, I'm out of shape, right? Like you don't even have to say it, like make a big deal out of it. Just offhand, mention that she knows she's too out of shape for this shit. Then you've at least kind of like set up an expectation to be broken. So when she does all this stuff, it's a little bit funnier. But instead, and I think it's probably to avoid having her weight or look be the butt of a joke, no pun intended. But it's instead it just comes off as lacking some sort of continuity. And I don't know. I don't know why that bugged me, but it's like, okay, this isn't choreography, this is CGI. When they're doing the dance, when they're doing the figure skating, like this isn't real fighting. Like when you watch The Matrix, like I believe that Keanu Reeves really learned how to do all that stuff. You know what I mean?
Right. At that point, I just took it. So, both the smoke scene and then the ice skating scene, like the whole movie is very stylized and it is like very over the top and pretty ridiculous. And at that point, because that was like what, last 30 minutes of the 25 minutes of the movie, 30 minutes
probably
of the movie?
30, dude. Yeah,
last 30.
At least 30.
Okay, because it still went on, but at that point I was like, okay, so we've just gone totally over the top here with the delivery and sort of like what we're pitching.
And,
you know,
and
like
we already started over the top.
Yeah, and absolutely.
Like it's not like we started
driving, on top of the fucking houses. And at that first scene, I was like, because I didn't know what to expect from this movie. To be honest, I didn't know much about it. So I was like, wait, is it supposed to be funny, or is it
definitely
like,
supposed to be funny?
And then I quickly realized, sort of like at the end of that, like I was like, okay, so yeah, this is going to be a ridiculous movie.
Yeah.
It is going to be comedic. It's not actually going to try and be serious.
Well,
I was a little confused those first couple of minutes. I was like, yo, if they're trying to be serious with this is really fucking
bad dialogue.
terrible.
Yeah,
this is like awful. And then it's like,
oh, it's a spy novel.
Yeah, like
so
all
of course it's bad dialogue.
Yeah, 100%. Once it gets to her, the next scene, like at the like the press event for her book or whatever, it's like, okay, I get it. But
right, and that's a great gag. And I thought the way that they had the fantasy world and the real world collide was very well executed.
They did that yeah.
Just from a directorial standpoint, Matthew Vaughn knows what he's doing with action. Obviously, he knows he's pretty good with humor as well, and that's why I loved having Sam Rockwell in it, because
dude, once he comes in, man, it's just like
it's fun.
Dude,
the movie's just immediately more fun.
Yeah, it makes so much sense. He's the rug that ties the room together. You know, like once he comes in, it's like, oh, okay, we've like officially hit our stride. And
if only they'd cast him in Dune. Then Dune would have been better.
Well, you know what, Dune Messiah, there's
there's time.
There's always hope. You know who? Let's see what.
But yeah,
honestly, well, he was probably too big to play one of the Tleilax Sue, but that would be pretty sick though.
He crushed it. I thought them shaving him after the first scene, okay, you immediately know, okay, this is going to end up being the love interest. And then they do throw it kind of for a twist when they have him say, like, this chick needs a bullet in her brain. And I guess later it you can kind of infer what he meant was that, like, the secret identity, obviously there's spoilers, we already put a label up, but the secret identity of Bryce Dallas Howard, who is really Agent R. Kyle.
Yeah.
Which is just I did appreciate that she was like, that's bullshit, because, like, that's stupid.
Yeah.
It's like next level dumb.
It's you know, again,
there are a couple things that could have played up the stupidity more.
I'm assuming, yeah, they could have. But it's like, I'm assuming that they know that, like, Homeboy knows that Matthew Vaughn, that it's kind of ridiculous, right? Like, he's
for
like,
sure.
I mean, you know,
he leans into it.
So, but like, yeah, the story is, I don't know if convoluted is the right word, but it is.
It's got many a twist and turn.
They take you through the, like, both sides of the double agent, like, multiple times. You know what I mean? It's sort of like there's a lot of twists and turns.
No
like
one can trust who's who.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then
it's like charade.
Like when you find out that her parents, you know, not her parents, in fact, also spies.
Yeah.
Running shit for what was the
division?
The division, yeah.
Yeah.
It keeps you on your toes.
And I liked that. I felt like at the end, it's like, okay, we've had one too many twists. I think we could have probably skipped ahead to the final battle scene a little quicker. But some of that's also that I think half the fun of it was the not knowing. It was the confusion and the mystery to it.
He plays it up well.
So once that's gone and she's who she is and she knows her identity, I think the movie, that's when it needs to clip along a little longer, a little faster.
Yeah, because that's, you know, at that point,
because now she knows her identity. Let's, like, get to the resolution.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's like, okay, the guy who's the head henchman, like, you know, of course they have to square off with him before they get to Bryan Cranston and Captain O'Hara, but it's like, just get through that quicker, because at that point we have a pretty good idea what's going on, right? Actually, I guess you sort of do know what's going on at that point.
Yeah.
Get us to the final confrontation with Bryan Cranston's character and Captain O'Hara. Like,
yeah.
we at that point the movie is
like,
ready.
we get that they love
there.
each other.
Yes.
The dance scene, I thought, and look, you're a good dancer. So, like, you've danced with your lady before, right?
Yeah.
So you know, like, that's probably an important part of their relationship and all that. But again, like, it could have been 3 or 4 minutes shorter, because we've already seen them dance in slow-mo. Now you've just added dancing in slow-mo with guns.
That's the thing, that now it's with guns, but you're doing that twice, right?
Yeah.
The moment in with the Keeper of Secrets at her palace, that dance scene, that slow dance scene, like, that was actually, honestly, that moment between those two I thought was really good.
Yeah.
Good chemistry. Like, it was a very intimate, romantic moment in the middle of, like, all the ridiculousness, right? So
it's another moment when you're like, man, Bryce Dallas Howard's looking good with the bomb bod.
she's rocking
it. Makes it work.
She's rocking it. And then old Sam's up there, he's spitting some game. He's like, all right, fuck this shit. Like, I'm tired of like kind of beating around the bush. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So with the guns, when you get there, it's like, okay, look, if you're gonna have this scene in here, just make it.
Why not just have them pairs figure skate? Right, you could have combined that with the oil slick figure skating scene.
Oh, that's actually that's
you know what I mean?
That's not a bad call. You know what I mean? Yeah, just yeah, because at that point it's like, okay, I'm ready to get to the final stage. You know, give me the boss battle. That's what I'm looking for at this point.
Because it is very video game like.
Yeah. It's yeah. I mean,
it's a little bit. It's like if.
It is very.
It's like the inside of Robin Williams. I feel like this was one of Robin Williams' dreams, like when he would go to sleep at night. This is like the sort of dream Robin Williams would have, because it's so all over the place and manic and colorful and just in every moment is kind of at the same level of intensity, right? And so I think it kind of it exhausts you mentally by that point.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned Robin Williams because it's probably about midway through the movie. At one point, I thought about Jumanji.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What made you think about Jumanji?
I don't know if it was like
Hot Moms.
Hot Moms. No, I don't know if it was the idea of like something coming to life or bringing a fictional piece to life. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like the board game in Jumanji, obviously. Her books, the way they just like infuse the fantasy with reality, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh no, she actually is Argylle, right, aka Argylle. You know, I mean, there's
and what the hell's going on at the end where Henry Cavill with the mullet shows up,
dude? Okay, so because that and the bonus scene at the end credit scene, confused the fuck out of me.
Yeah, very confusing. Like because
like mind fuck status.
I think it's like they're trying to buy back that I think they know what works. What's making the film work for the first two acts is this potential for complete mysticism and just throwing any semblance of realism out the window, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's possible that she's actually a seer who is manifesting reality with her stories. That is kind of the implication, or it's how it's made to seem.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously that's ridiculous, but this movie's ridiculous, so whatever.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so like it sets you up that there's a point where it could tip over into the realm of madness and it could just turn into like Alice in Spyland. And instead they actually bring it back to reality a little bit, and it turns out she was brainwashed and she lost her memories, and so everything's like an amnesic recollection of her past life, and that's fine. I don't mind that, but again, at that point, you're no longer fueling me with this sense of wonderment and anticipation of how the fuck is this going to all tie together.
Right.
Now I see how it ties together. So let's just get to the boss battle, as you're saying.
Yeah.
And then at the end, Henry Cavill shows up and she seems to recognize that he is Argylle, like he is the same actor who plays Argylle.
Right.
And he's like, maybe you'd have some questions for me. For question 1, why do you have a mullet? Question 2, what?
It was very confusing. And then
are we supposed to like,
is it setting this up for another one? I'm assuming so, but like
how? And
it was
again, like if it had been like he met her after the book signing, if they just given at that point, I know we just said hurry it up, but at that point just give me an extra 2 minutes and have him say my name's Jeff Argylle or whatever the hell Argylle's name's supposed to be, and I'm your biggest fan or whatever, and then I don't know, someone attacks and then like gunshot credits.
Right.
That could have worked both thematically, like, oh, she's going to write another novel, now she's moving on to actual creation. Or it could have worked as, oh, there is this magical element, but it kind of just left you a little bit confused.
Yes, that certainly was.
And then you get to the bumper scene at mid credits, and this guy you've never seen before goes to the Kingsman pub, which I'm like, hell yeah. Okay, so we're in the same universe as Kingsman. And then they have this, bullshit spy interaction with he says a secret phrase. He answers the secret question with the secret phrase. And then he's given a gun. And then it just cuts to a poster of Argylle Book 1 coming soon. And it was
like
a little bit
like Book 1 movie coming soon or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
which would be cool. I would watch it, but I'm a little confused. Is this movie going to be in the world of fantasy?
Right.
And if so, is Kingsman a fantasy, or is the Kingsman thing, which is similar to The Division in that it's a spy agency that eventually goes rogue and ends up supporting some New World Order shit, in the first movie at least. That is part of the same cinematic reality, which I'm A-okay with. I love the Kingsman movies,
okay.
But again, I'm not sure exactly what the connection is.
Okay, so, because, you're much more, I like the Kingsman movies. You know them very well. With that scene...
Yeah, I've seen all of them at least twice.
With that scene at the end, okay, so are we in the same universe? Did you see any Easter eggs throughout the movie that,
no,
that made you think, or did they actually drop any hints throughout the movie?
No, because they actually kind of reject some of the Kingsman tropes in that where the Kingsman movies are buying or are returning spy movies to the days of suave, James Bond-esque intrigue and adventure combined with a more modern sense of action and tongue-in-cheek humor. This one, immediately, Sam Rockwell tells her, that's the one unrealistic thing is, of course I'm not going to wear like a pinstripe suit or whatever he says.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly. Because look at everyone else on this train.
Yeah. Like, I'm not a male model. Yeah, he absolutely just...
And that's smart. Like, it separates it. So I didn't see any of those Easter eggs. I wasn't really looking too hard, to be fair.
I guess going back and watching it a second time, having seen it, maybe that's something where it's like, maybe there is something that's in there. Because, but that just...
Honestly,
that was
you know
very,
what? My suspicion, sorry to cut
maybe
you.
it was just a nod to the series?
I think he wants to make another Kingsman movie, but he needs a hit in order to get there, because The Kingsman, partially probably because of COVID, also partially because it wasn't a direct sequel. It's like this period prequel with a completely different cast. I think that somewhat probably damaged it at the box office, but I loved The Kingsman. Specifically, have you seen it?
Yes. Yeah.
Because the first two Kingsman movies are kind of hilariously on point and somewhat prescient, which I guess there's a nod in Argylle there in that her books are describing reality. Well, the first Kingsman movie is about a Bill Gates type millionaire, a tech billionaire, who is using his technology to manufacture anger and division in society while all the richest people on earth take authoritarian control of that society.
Yep.
And kill everyone else, which is not unsimilar to things we may have seen in the news in the past few years. And then the second one is about a secret drug cartel that's shipping in this zombie drug that is in all the other drugs that kills everybody. Fentanyl.
Yeah. Also,
a couple years before fentanyl.
Yeah.
So like these movies are absolutely a way for Matthew Vaughn or whoever's writing. I think he's writing the Kingsman movies. They're a way for the writer to comment on things that are really happening and push those ideas into the popular consciousness while still maintaining a level of separation that makes it not completely controversial. And so the third one, by handling the history of World War I and actually being kind of surprisingly historically accurate. I did not anticipate it having the historical accuracy that it did.
It was cool.
For instance, in the Kingsman, they don't imply, they directly show that there are there's British and other allied European subterfuge that is seeking to destroy the old order, and so they send Lenin to Russia, and then at the end, in their little bumper scene, they're like unveiling Adolf Hitler.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and if you look at the history of it, well, it turns out like the Germans, who, you know, let's be real, as they point out in the Kingsman, that the king of Germany, England, and Russia are all cousins. They've all known each other their whole lives. They absolutely sent Lenin there. It was a German intelligence operation to destabilize Russia and essentially eliminate one of the fronts from the war. And then similarly, British intelligence, I believe it was, aided Hitler in his rise. They undercut some of his rivals. There was a lot of outside influence that was putting some of these maniacs into power. And so by commenting on that, in a sense, it's almost saying all of this Kingsman stuff is indeed a comment on reality. And I was really excited to see where they went with the World War II one. Right. So there is some tie-in maybe in that her books are reflecting reality or seemingly manifesting reality, but it's a reflection. And the Kingsman movies are absolutely doing the same thing. And I assume, maybe this is giving them the benefit of the doubt, I assume that bumper sequence at the end with the Kingsman pub is essentially a way that if this movie makes money, he can say, okay, I'm making Kingsman 4.
So it's a nod. It's just a nod.
I think it's a business. I think it's literally a cynical business move. You don't need the connection, but I want to make Kingsman 4 as my next movie. And if this makes a bunch of money, which will enable him to probably do it, then he can tell whoever's financing it, hey, that movie that made a bunch of money was part of the Kingsman series. It's part of the universe.
Right.
So I think it's a financing move.
He's throwing himself a bone. Trying to throw himself a bone there.
Yeah, I think he's hooking up his next movie.
I'm not mad about it.
No.
You know what I mean?
If it leads to more Kingsman, I'm okay with it.
Do your thing, man.
I have no idea what the connection is.
I don't either. Still don't.
Don't understand it at all. Is it in the book? Is it in real life? But
I'm sure I'll end up watching. I'm almost positive I'll end up watching it again because I know Anne wants to see it. So when I watch it with her,
take the wife.
Yeah. When I watch it with her, I'll definitely be on the lookout for any Easter eggs that might be in there, because I certainly didn't see them the first go round.
I think other than some of the continuity and Easter eggs and pacing stuff, it is a good movie. I feel like we focused a little bit on some of the more negative aspects, and that's just kind of what happens when your worst act is your third act.
That's which we talk about.
Because now I'm leaving, and that's the freshest memory.
Exactly. We talked about that in Poor Things, where it's like, the ending was good. It was satisfying. And there's so many times where it's like, you've got me through the first two acts. Like, okay, this is cool. This is entertaining. Whether it's like trashy good or actually really good, whatever it might be, right? Like, I'm entertained. I'm here for this. Yeah, let me see how it wraps up. And then it just loses you in the third. Whether it's like the way they finish the story or a pacing issue. This one specifically, it was the pacing for me in that third act where it's like, okay, let's actually yada yada some of this and just get to the final point. But overall, I thought
the first two
really
acts were a ride. It's creative.
The way they handle the twists and turns, and like they sort of as a viewer, they really sort of put you in the moment of feeling both sides, right?
Yeah.
Is she playing him? Oh, she's also playing them. It takes you on that ride really well.
Yeah, I enjoyed the twists even in the third act. Generally speaking, it was the more gratuitous and unessential things that I think could have hit the cutting room floor.
Yeah, and honestly, I think in a way the movie is a little convoluted, which is like, honestly, I don't really have a problem with it. It's like there's a lot of things going into this storyline. There's different layers. Like, you know, I'm not above that. I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. I thought they handled most of it very well.
Yeah.
I saw some headlines, didn't read the articles, but I saw some headlines where people were just saying, like, the movie was a mess, this and that. Like, so just sort of like it's like, yeah, it's chaotic and there's a lot, but
yeah, it's messy, I guess, but
you know,
name a spy movie. There are very few spy movies, dude.
With all the ins and outs that's going on and what they're trying to do, it's like, yeah, it is kind of like peeling an onion. There's a lot of layers to this, and it's, you know, all in all, I thought they did a pretty solid job with it.
Was it like the slickest execution in the same sense of a John le Carre novel? No, but that's not what it's trying to be, right? This isn't a dialogue-driven, low-key thriller. This is a bright, colorful action film.
It is. It's funny.
And he clearly like threw some scenes in just because he wanted to do them. Like the ice skating scene, completely unnecessary, but clearly he had the idea, you know, it'd be fun and a new way for me to use this same technology and same trick that he's been using in his action scenes. Oh, what if we had her ice skating around, right? And so that, you know, I don't mind a set piece for a set piece's sake sometimes, you know? Like if you watch Ben-Hur, or for those who haven't seen Ben-Hur, The Phantom Menace, Star Wars Episode 1, the race scene, chariot scene and or pod race scene, which is just a callback to Ben-Hur.
100%
right? Is the best part. Best part of both movies.
Right.
And it's pretty obvious the director was just like, you know what, I think it'd be fun to have a race.
Be sick to do this.
Does it matter in this man's journey to Christ and or Anakin's journey to Naboo?
Right.
Nope.
But it's kind of badass though.
Yeah, but it's like 20 fucking minutes of awesome shit.
Yeah.
And it's all that people like. There's a video game based on the pod race. Like that's all anyone likes.
Right.
Everyone likes the pod race scene. I don't think anyone saw that movie. So even the people who hated it and said
that sucks.
Boy, I hate the pod race scene. They'd say, "Oh, everything but the pod race." So it's okay to have a set piece, just for the sake of having a set piece. I just thought you already had enough story-wise here that you didn't really need that.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't have. This wasn't a shallow, poorly thought out movie that needed a life preserver. Right. So that's why it came off as a little unnecessary, but. Same time, I also think that, as she actually says, in regards to her ice skating accident in the beginning, you realize that, you know, you never know when your time's up, right? You could die any moment. So maybe there's a little bit of, hey, you never know if you're going to get to make another movie again. So I'm going to do this.
Have fun.
Yeah, I'm going to have fun with it. And Roger Ebert used to describe scenes like that as directors playing with their toys, and his point, he was talking about, I think, Pacific Rim, and he said it might be fun to play with your toys, your Transformers or action figures or whatever, but it's a lot less fun to watch a kid play with their toys than it is for the kid to be playing with the toys. And so there is some element where you have to make sure that it's as fun for you, the viewer, as it is for me, the director.
Yeah.
And I would say those two scenes were probably more fun for the director.
They didn't, they don't translate to the viewer. Not at that point. You know, like it's.
But I honestly wanted to see more of the Argylle novels. I would have liked to have seen more of that world.
So yeah, he sort of.
Once the reality comes in.
Yeah. He sort of just disappears until like the very, very end.
And that bridging between.
It was really cool how
those
he
worlds
did
was
that.
what was fun.
Yeah, that like
that's where the fun came from.
Yeah, it was. And even like, you know, I'm not.
And also, Dua Lipa is hot.
Who is she?
She was the chick at the very beginning. Who stood up, and you're just like, who is this? And
Dua Lipa.
At this
is she
point,
a pop star?
Yeah, she's a pop. She sings some song that I would. She actually has one song I would be like, oh, that's that Dua Lipa song. All I know is that I've seen her on the TV and the internet and whatnot, just at completely random, unconnected points in my life. And at least 3 or 4 times I've been like, yo, who dat? Like literally, I was just like, I almost leaned over to you. Maybe I did. I don't think I did. I almost leaned over to you and just was like, yo, that chick is so fucking hot. Like, she is so insanely hot. And then I ended up figuring out, I was like, oh, it's Dua Lipa. Because every time I asked this, like, yo, who be that bitty dough? They're like, oh, everyone's like, that's Dua Lipa. You don't know Dua Lipa? And so at this point, I think the dots finally connected where I was like, oh, I bet you that's, and I looked it up. It's like, oh, that is Dua Lipa. Very hot lady. Just saying. Could have used more of her.
Could have, yeah. They bring her back in the end.
You got 3 hot babes. You got 3 hot guys. You got 2 good old people. Like, the casting's killer.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, dude.
I'm counting Bryce Dallas Howard and the babes. We're not shaming her for having a mom bod.
No, I think
it's just a fact of reality that she has a mom bod.
I think she's a babe. I think, yeah.
What this movie was lacking was a nude scene.
Yeah, yes.
I'm just kidding. That's a joke, everybody. But for real, like,
we didn't get the Sam Rockwell, Bryce.
Yeah, where's the Sam Rockwell donkey tail?
Where's the hookup
where's the
with
full
them?
frontal?
We need to pay off both of them.
I'm waiting for a little bit of cock in my films.
Gratuitous fucking sex.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that they avoided sex. You know, and I appreciated
honestly at one
that.
point I was wondering. I was like, wait, are they actually going to hook up?
And earlier when he has the sex scene that she writes, she immediately strikes it like that's not right. That's bad. And so I like that they gave you a spy movie without sex as a hook.
Yeah.
You know, that's a good thing. Because, you know, with James Bond, it's cool that he gets laid because that's his character. His character, he's a male fantasy. He's not a real person. He goes to a lair in the middle of a volcano and he bangs Japanese chicks. And that's just how that's the character, fine.
That's
not
how it rolls,
every
dude.
not every spy movie needs to be full of lurid insinuations and nudity.
Because I was at this point, it's definitely a trope. You know,
it's boring. And I did appreciate the focus on love because, in a sense, it's almost commenting like this is less boring. Mm-hmm. Like real human connection is a lot less boring.
They had great chemistry,
than gratuitous
They
sex.
really did. Like, I mean, I think they're both incredible actors.
Yeah.
So that's part of it. But you know, again, referencing a movie we saw recently, like, also had very good actors in it. Napoleon, man, that chemistry was just lacking with him, like on all fronts. And this one, it's like they have a very good, like, playful nature. And then again, that scene with him in the palace, the first dancing scene is like, oh, that's you feel the intimacy there.
Sam Rockwell really is kind of like,
dude, he's so good.
He might be like the Jack Nicholson of his time.
He's so ridiculously
he can play
good,
himself.
dude.
Like he has a himself,
right?
Which is this ridiculous, kind of goofy, lopsided smile, jerk off, essentially.
Yeah.
And but he can do the serious roles, and he can just turn it on when he needs to.
Yeah.
So I almost wonder if the movie was written for him or not. It doesn't seem like it would have been, but I'm very glad they cast him.
Is this movie based on a book or like a comic book or something, or no? Like
I am completely unaware.
Okay,
I don't think it is.
Okay, I was like, I don't know. I really, again, came into it not knowing anything about it. I'd seen the trailer a couple times, so I knew there was some sort of spy element to it. It seemed like, but that was about it.
Matthew Vaughn is just so. He literally said in an interview around the first Kingsman movie that his goal is to reinvigorate the spy genre because there haven't been any good spy movies. I mean, which I would agree with because they turned James Bond into Jason Bourne, which was annoying.
Yeah, they've really the last couple Bond films have been just lacking. And I mean,
I
that
didn't
makes
even see
sense.
the most recent one, dude. I didn't even bother.
That makes sense that
I've seen every James Bond movie
except for that one.
Except for the newest one, yeah.
Meh.
Because, dude,
you know, I mean, it's not.
Daniel Craig is always serious. He's never having fun, which immediately is completely wrong. Because Sean Connery having fun, Pierce Brosnan having fun, Roger Moore having fun, George Lazenby is having fun. Right? The only Bonds that aren't having fun are the ones that don't work for me, and that's Timothy Dalton and Daniel Craig.
You said earlier on, you're like, yo, what about Henry Cavill?
Why would he?
James
Yeah,
Bond,
he'd be a
right?
good James Bond.
Do they think, is he too tall?
I think he's too buff.
He's too buff. He's okay.
Because he has to stay in Superman shape.
Yeah.
I noticed when he's in this ridiculous like turtleneck, like God damn, that guy's big.
Dude, yeah,
He's
there
broad.
were a couple times I was like, yo, like homeboy is fucking like stacked, dude.
dude.
Yeah. I mean, like there's not really any getting around it when you see him. It's just like, damn, that dude's fucking big, man. Like, all right, word.
Yeah, and
there are certain people like that when you see me, just like, yeah, okay, man. So you're
he's
like
in
you're just like a next level human being, I guess, for sure.
Yeah. Well, he's got the trainer and everything, but yeah, he's one of the most.
Maybe he's on roids. Who knows? I don't know.
He might be. He's one of the most jacked movie stars working today.
Did you like the Superman movies with him? The first one,
Man of Steel is awesome.
So that's the first
I
one,
loved
right?
Man of
Yes,
Steel.
that one I thought was really
Other
good.
than the like obvious, like he throws a 7-Eleven tanker truck. Okay, whatever. That's product placement, but like that was annoying, I guess. But other than that, I don't think that anything in Man of Steel could have been done better. It's the only Superman movie I ever liked.
I thought it was very well done.
It had Michael Shannon in it.
Leave it to WB to just
Crazy
drive
Eyes.
a stake through the heart of one of their IPs.
Yeah, well, that's what they do.
It really
DC
is.
just loves to fuck things up. Apparently.
I mean, it.
Because Batman vs Superman, I couldn't even finish.
So I've like.
Did you see that? Did you finish that?
Oh,
I never even finished it.
and I hated it. I think it's like one of those movies where like I hate every second of this, but I'm in for this.
Ben Affleck is just not
Dude,
a good Batman.
Yeah, it was not good.
Jesse Eisenberg, I don't get why he's Lex Luthor.
It was horrible. I thought that was fucking
like
terrible.
I'm glad it wasn't Gene Hackman. I always thought the Gene Hackman Lex Luthor was stupid.
No, yeah, but
especially because he wasn't bald.
Eisenberg, it's like that was not good. That was a missed opportunity for casting on that. I mean, WB owns the two things that I nerd out about the most:
Mortal Kombat
and Dune.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So I have actually am fairly well versed in like how there's certain threads that I'll get on that a lot of inside information, that sort of thing, or just like industry information, right? And it just always seems to go back to like, man, WB, they're just so fucking money hungry, and they don't do a good job at trusting the creatives.
Yeah.
Who are making
that's why they
the
destroyed Snyder's Justice League.
It's at every turn. There are so many examples, and that's all in the rant now. So I don't take us on this like WB rabbit hole, but like it is kind of, it's impressive at like how many things are just like
botched.
Oh yeah, they just botched it, man. Like
well, and here's the thing. I love Zack Snyder. I just thought that Batman vs Superman was trying too hard to be epic when it didn't need to be 3 hours. Like, okay, if you're giving me a movie called Batman vs Superman, here's what you got to do: show me Superman, show me Batman. They exist. Okay, now have them fight. That's it,
dude. Yeah, the whole universe.
Just find a reason for them to fight that's easy and simple. Have them fight. Movie's over. Thank you.
And the DC universe as a whole, man, I think they really struggled with like finding their tone, being like, okay, so the Marvel cinematic universe is like very comic booky, very colorful. It's like comedic. It's sort of slapstick. Where like WB, I feel like they're almost sort of like, yeah, but we had the Dark Knight series, which is really grounded and gritty and dark, and so
they keep wanting to replicate that,
while like trying to have some of the more like colorful comedic elements, and it just never works the way they do it. I think that's probably why they brought James Gunn on, because he's a guy who's like who might be able to balance that better, because he did Guardians of the Galaxy and that sort of thing. But like they struggle with that shit, so.
And look, you know what? I'm okay
with
with it. I think that comic book movies need to die for a little bit. I'm
over
it.
I mean,
I'm over it.
We've talked about it before. Yeah, it's too
like
much, man.
Madame Web. Saw the trailer for that again.
Well, now they're getting to like the bottom.
They've
told so many stories too that they're just getting to the bottom of the barrel of like characters they can bust out or new stories they can bring in, and it's like, man.
Well, and they have so many TV shows, and you can't keep up with all.
And
of it.
I think audiences are actually reflecting that too.
Yeah.
I mean, I think people they're a little superheroed out.
Because it's
Thank
a child,
God.
dude. It's a childish genre, and that's fine. Everyone should feed their inner child from time to time. But there's so many other ways to do it other than a guy in a cape. Spy movies being one example, right? And where I will agree with Matthew Vaughn is you don't really have too many good spy movies in the past 10 to 20 years, really,
No,
dude.
it's not,
like,
man.
It's
Very lacking.
I don't know if it's because the Cold War ended, or because they don't want people thinking about what the CIA might be doing, or because people are now aware that the CIA are not always the good guys.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, there's all sorts of
Curveball, folks.
Yeah, it turns out. But because it used to just be in the 70s or 80s, like, I'm CIA. Oh, you're the good guy, right? Roy Scheider in Marathon Man. He's CIA. That's why they went after him, because the CIA is the good guys, and he's a Nazi. But then it turns out, well, like, maybe the Nazis are in the CIA, and no one wants to make that movie, really.
Right.
Like, you're not going to see the Operation Paperclip action movie.
No, you're not. You're not.
So,
That'd be
although
a
Kingsman
crazy-ass
4,
movie.
I bet you Kingsman 4 does it.
Yo, that'd be sick.
That'd be so awesome.
I'm here for it, dude. Kingsman 4, Paperclip.
Let's make it
Operation
happen.
Dude.
We need to start a
that would be
petition.
sick.
And
That would be sick.
so. Did Argylle do its job of making itself into a, like, surefire hit that will guarantee us Kingsman 4? Nope.
No.
It's
Probably
just because I think
not.
people who are a little less forgiving will get bored. I am inclined to forgive the movie for many of its faults.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what would you give it rating wise?
Oh, rating wise, 1 to 5.
Or 0? You can bet.
Oh yeah, 0 to 5. That's true. Thankfully, we've not had any zeros.
Not yet.
Thank
God.
You know what? At the end of the movie, I went back and forth because, like, I did enjoy it and I was entertained, and, like, there's some faults with it. The third act, not the best. But, like, I had a good time watching it. The performances were really good. I think everyone...
You've got a return to, like, the old Hollywood star-driven picture, which is nice.
I think I might just split it right down the middle and go 2.5.
Nice.
Ultimately 2.5, yeah.
Yeah, there's part of me that was feeling the 2. If I was writing for a newspaper and I'm trying to consider, I guess, my reputation, but also just the reader and understanding that, like, in the days of, like, newspaper critics, you had to write a review for everybody, right?
Yeah.
Not just for fanboys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, part of that side of my brain is like 2.5. But I think I would honestly give it 3 stars.
Yeah.
I'll give it 3.
I debated giving it 3. It was 3 or 2.5 for me.
Because there was enough good stuff in it, and none of it was so bad. Like, there were, like we said, there's, when you look at it, this is a 2 hour and 10 minute movie, I think, and we're maybe talking about, like, 7 or 8 minutes that was a little bit too much.
Yep. Absolutely.
That's a pretty good percentage.
It really is.
You know?
Like, overall. And, I mean, like, dude, the first
In a great movie, you have no moments like that. So,
exactly.
Like, you can't, obviously that is a problem if there's 8 minutes that could have been cut. But it's not like, their movies sometimes are like, yo, they could have cut 20, 30 fucking minutes
I
of
mean,
this shit.
there are much more egregious examples of that, where it's like, yo, dude, I don't care right now.
Yeah.
Like, you've lost me.
I still cared. I was just ready for the next moment. So just because that is, like, my biggest criticism being that, and, like, the lack of acknowledgement of the mom bod, that I'm usually not, like, my dad, when he watches movies, he's obsessed with, like, historical accuracy. I think we talked about that in the Napoleon podcast a little bit, because I remember he saw Kingdom of Heaven and he was pissed because they're using, like, I can't remember exactly, but they're using, like, Third Crusade armor, and this is the Second Crusade.
Oh yeah.
Like, and it's just like, yo, Dad, who knows that? You know that.
100%. My
Right.
pops was the same way with any military movie, man.
shit,
Dude,
especially,
I mean,
yeah.
like, dude,
And my grandpa was in the military.
yeah, dude, he would spot that shit, and it would just, you could just see him just like,
Wrong gun.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's
not the right gun.
Funny, dude.
And so I'm not
hilarious.
gonna like. I'm not that guy. I think there's a certain level of forgiveness, but I do think the movie has to have its own logic to it. And once you've removed us from the fantasy world of Agent Argylle and the brainwashed Kyle
right
colliding, now we're just in reality. And so at that point, I would expect you to treat it a little bit more realistically, and that's the only reason that bothered me, because it's like, obviously Bryce Dallas Howard can't do these stunts.
Well, yeah, it's like they did.
And I can't do these stunts either. But that's why they cast Scarlett Johansson, who's been working out. That's why they cast Henry Cavill.
It's like they dip back into the fantasy realm right quick, and it's like, oh, okay, all right, so
she can
we're
just
not like super grounded anymore.
She makes like, Chuck Norris look like a bitch.
yeah.
But she's also definitely maybe in need of like a visit to the gym. And that to me is a little bit just silly, like beyond the realm of silly. And if you had just acknowledged it, I don't know why I get hung up on that. But my point is that it really, because the whole time, because I kept thinking it, I'm just like, oh, that, like, is it intentional? Did they intentionally get someone with a mom bod? Like, to me, that would be a great comment. If you cast someone,
I feel like he probably did.
They want her to look like an every woman.
I would imagine so.
They want her to be she's a writer. She's been sitting in a chair for 5 years. It makes sense that she's not ripped.
Right.
I'm so okay.
As opposed to not get, like you said, Scarlett Johansson, like Charlize Theron or something like that. Where it's just like, oh, okay, for sure. Like you
spent the last 10 years in the gym.
Yeah. You've done martial arts or like fight choreography before. Yeah, you do train. You're in really, really good shape. Like, all right,
then I feel like visually
it
matches, so you buy it without needing an explanation of how they learned to do this. In this one, you get the explanation of how she learned to do it. So why not just also hammer home the theme of, like, even if it's one of empowerment and body positivity, like even a fat chick can roundhouse kick someone in the face. If that's the message you're trying to go for, great. But by not mentioning it, you just kind of leave it in this gray zone where it's not clear whether it's an intentional thematic element, but you've still forced me to think about it. You know what I mean? And I people are gonna watch this and say Josh is an asshole, but you do force me to think about it, because again, you know someone who could maybe lose 20 pounds, right? Can they beat the shit out of Chuck Norris? No, they can't, obviously, right? Like, are they as fast as 20 well-trained agents? Are they gonna outrun bullets?
No, but yeah, I think at that point it is very fantastical, and it's like, just honestly, not even that. It's like just over the top, like the like knives on the shoes. All you needed was one line, just the knives on the shoes, skating in the oil. Like, it's just like, okay, weird. But I mean, obviously it's not accurate, because like in some of those shots where she like picked him up and she's spinning him around, there's like such long pauses of like when the people they're fighting appear, and when they actually shoot them, and it's like people are 5 feet away, and they're with like just semi-automatics, just like completely missing each other. I mean, it's very ridiculous.
It almost seemed like when they watched the infrared video from the control room, that all of the like hearts and ridiculous tango dance moves were in their heads, and that in reality, like, because either it was a continuity error or that was the implication. Because at one point, like, I think she's holding him up in the air, and then you cut to the control room and the infrared thing, they're just back-to-back shooting. Right. And so I would have liked a little bit more clarity there, because then that would have been a great and funnier little nugget to throw in there, that, okay, but love puts them in the fantasy world, right? They're figuring it out in reality, but what you're seeing is the way they're perceiving it.
Yeah.
And so if they had made that a little clearer, again, it would have...
That's actually a really good point. Yeah, if they could have relayed that better, then I think that whole sequence
makes a lot more sense.
It's much smoother. You know what I mean? Yeah.
But of course that doesn't really work with the ice skating and the final fight scene. But whatever, like, again, you can just say, oh yeah, sure, you've been writing in a chair for 5 years and you haven't been working out like a freak, because why would you? but you've done this before. You can do it again. Maybe you'll be a little rusty, but your reflexes will come back. Your instincts will win the day. If you just had that little piece of encouragement for her, I think it would have, again, added a little bit of thematic cohesion to the deal. But again, those are like two fairly, I wouldn't say they're like totally like small, but they're not huge problems with the movie. So that's why I would give it 3 stars. Is it still checked most of the boxes I wanted.
Yeah.
It gave me a lot of entertaining visuals.
Mm-hmm.
And it was different. It wasn't something that I've seen a million times before. You know, like some of these topics have been covered, yes, but it covered them in a unique and original way. And so just for that, I would give it that extra half star.
It was fun. And I mean, it's entertaining. Like, people should go see it.
People should go see it.
Yeah.
If you could see it in theaters, let's make Kingsman 4 happen.
Yeah, just go see movies in the theaters. Anyway, it's so much fun, man. It's such a good experience. Like,
it's a good popcorn flick.
As anyone who watches this knows, I'm so pumped for Dune Part 2 in the theater. I can't wait to go see it in IMAX. I'm going to go see that shit multiple times for sure.
We got a 4D exit.
Go support. Yeah, I'm down. Like, dude, I'm so down. The sandworms come crashing in. But yeah, go support your movie theater. And it's if not, they're gonna fucking, I don't know if they'll go away, but you know.
But also, yeah, like everyone,
get out of your fucking house.
Support everyone in this involved with this movie. Support the director.
Streaming.
Support the actors. Go see their projects. Every actor other than John Cena. Support. I'm not a huge John Cena fan.
I will. You know what? I mean,
just because he sucked up to China that one time.
That was really weird. But also, you know, he did pretty good in the movie. I will say, I was like, you know,
again, you could have had more of.
I think Batista is the best wrestler turned actor. I'll take him over The Rock because The Rock it just always plays. I don't
know. I think The Rock,
but like. Batista plays more thoughtful roles. I think his characters have more depth to him, and I think like he's.
Because asking The Rock to play a thoughtful role is like asking Arnold Schwarzenegger to play it. You're just like, okay, why would I?
You can't do it.
Like if someone said, "Hey man, have you heard Arnold starring in a new production of King Lear?" I would go see it.
I mean,
actually,
yeah.
A horse. Yeah, my kingdom for a horse. Is that King Lear or Richard? Anyway, fucking. It's one of those Shakespeare shits about a fucking play. I would see that, but you know what I'm saying. Like, no one's looking for.
No.
No one's looking for that from Schwarzenegger. Same with The Rock. But yeah, no, you're right. Batista's a more versatile actor. But I mean, John Cena's—he's not a bad actor. He's just he's getting old. He looks like he's got to be like 60.
Yeah. I think he's getting up there because he did the wrestling thing for a long time, and then that just takes a toll on you. Just like even like the schedule, aside from the physical activity, just like the schedule, those guys' tours are brutal. And he's been making movies for a while at this point. I mean, like he's one of the action guys, it seems like. But yeah, he was good. He was pretty good in it. I enjoyed him more than I thought I would. The China thing, that was a very weird.
That's like, again, you got to take that out of the evaluation of the movie. He was good in this movie. So
no, absolutely.
But yeah, all I'm saying is support everyone. We got on a tangent, but support everyone involved because they're talented people. And look at this theater. We need this theater to stay alive.
Let's get some of those neon lights a little brighter. You know what I mean? We need.
I've never been here at night. I bet you they do light it up at night.
I hope so.
I would hope.
Yeah.
And there's just something about going into a movie theater and seeing all the posters and smelling the popcorn, and I especially prefer movie theaters like this with the ornamentation.
Get the munchies. A lot of theaters have bars now, so you can actually you can get drinks while you're watching a movie.
Why not?
So it's awesome. Like,
so anyway, go see Argylle.
Yeah,
Thanks for watching. Let us, if you understand what the fuck that happened in the ending, can you explain it to us in the comments?
Yeah, someone drop a hint for us. We got 2 awesome episodes coming for you guys too.
Yeah, we got Dune 2, Lord of the Rings, and at some point we also got to do Rebel Moon.
We do. Lord of the Rings is going to be the first episode we do on a movie that has already
come out.
Yeah.
But also, like, they're doing some re-releases of movies like City Lights at the Belcourt, or I would totally be down if we ever went to go see something like that, to just do like, all right, Chaplin episode.
You sent Freaks over, right?
Yeah, they're showing Todd Browning's Freaks.
I would 100%.
Let's do an episode on Freaks.
Dude. That's, yeah.
Anyway,
wild movie.
Thank you, y'all. Oh, I said y'all. Man, I'm becoming a Southerner.
Down in the South.
Thanks, y'all.
Dirty
y'all
South.
Have a good one now you're here.
Y'all come back now.
Enjoy this shot of the parking lot.